So who doesn't like ice cream? Whether you're dairy free and you're using coconut ice cream or you're back to traditional Cornish ice cream, we all love some good ice cream. Now, for me, public speaking and especially speaking at events is really like ice cream. Because you go to an event, you look at the schedule, there's a lot of choice. Just like going to buy ice cream, there's always choice. And it's delicious, and there's anticipation, there's excitement. Oh, it's fantastic. I can't wait to have this ice cream. And you go to an event and you see a speaker that you're really, I know that person has achieved great things. I can't wait to hear what they're going to share. And then this happens. You drop your ice cream. It's a massive letdown. You're like, really? I just gave 25 minutes of my time for this? But I know they can be amazing. So what's going wrong? So when you go to an event, you want to be the person holding the ice cream. Big smile on your face, anticipation, excited, delighted, gonna learn something, gonna be inspired. It's gonna be so worth it. It's all about value. So we're switching from ice creams to diamonds. What value do we create and retain and share and take to the next thing? That's what public speaking at events is all about, because whether you're a startup founder and you're going to tell everyone about your new business, whether you're a veteran with tons of experience and you've been invited to a keynote to share how you became successful, it's all about value. And like the ice cream that's dropped on the floor, too many speaking opportunities are wasted, in my opinion. So I want us to think about our goals. We're this little character at the bottom of a pathway, looking up at a mountain on the horizon line with a diamond at the top of the mountain. That's what we're striving for. And whether you are sharing your journey, whether you're at the beginning, the middle, and the end, we are all on a journey where the horizon line keeps shifting. And as we seek our success, public speaking is a massive part of this, because the ratio of speaker to audience is always really good, which means your time as a speaker is now, what have we got here today? 19 people. I'm one of them, 18 people, 18 to 1. This is a beautiful ratio for me to share ideas. And as we public speak, we're busy because we're running a business, recruiting people, training people, running teams, doing all these different things. And so we come across canyons, and we can see the value on the other end, on the other side, but we just can't hop across. And we try, and we take a big run up, we run to the edge, we jump, ooh, but we don't quite make it. And I know this because I've done this a million times when I worked in advertising in Beijing. I was the guy that made presentations for CEOs, for leaders, for advertising creative directors. And I was the one at 4 o'clock in the morning waiting for people to send me slides so we could go to a meeting at 9 o'clock. So I'm still working at 4 a.m. That was me getting eaten by the crocodiles. Did not like it, did not want to be there. So I built a bridge, and we're here today to share the bridge that I built in terms of getting presentations done. So you are flexible and you are not dropping ice cream when you are public speaking, that you are inspiring people, that you're meeting expectations, and you're sharing all these incredible stories that you know and you have, and we're getting them into the heads and the hearts of the people in front of you. So we're all here because we want to be the best speaker at the event, because public speaking is rocket fuel for your business development, for your personal growth, for your advancements as a professional, wherever you are on your journey. So as we speak, this is what you're going to see. We're back in the room, and from the speaker's perspective, you're going to see something like this, a room full of people, which is amazing. I've got a Zoom room right now with you guys. Thank you for making it here today. But at an in-person event, you're going to see something like this. Now, this was a photograph that I saw on LinkedIn feed a while back. And if I look closely, I can just about see 43 people in this audience. Maybe there's a few more because there's a few off to the edge. That's a 1:43 ratio. That's pretty good. And we're looking at, if it's a 25-minute talk, we're looking at a lot of hours of attention. A lot of people listening to me. That is a ton of time. You're talking a couple of days there. If you tried to get that much attention one-on-one, it would take you a lot longer. So speaking at events is an incredible platform to share ideas. It's a lot of value. So how do we really make it the best kind of value? How do we get ROI on this? It's when the speaker is sharing ideas and inspiration that the audience is nodding their heads, making notes, taking photographs, smiling, leaning forward and saying, I want to come and speak to this person. I want to connect with this person because they are making me better. Now, I talked about spilt ice cream. I went to an event recently where I had a lot of anticipation for the speaker. I knew and know that they had done amazing things, but I was really disappointed, and I ended up leaving the Zoom room after about 7 minutes because I felt that my time had no ROI. I couldn't see how I was going to get to success. In fact, it was the opposite of ROI. It was wasted time. And this is what I did. And I want to know who else has done this at an event. Suddenly kind of cameras off, muted, polite little message in the chat, make an excuse, and because there's no ROI on my time. And if you're in a live event, you'll see this. Phones come out, people start looking down, checking emails, checking LinkedIn, writing a blog post, getting their to-do list done. This is wasted opportunities. This is like dropping your ice cream on the pavement just as you're about to enjoy it on a beautiful hot day. Why does this happen? Because when people go to events, there's way too much of this education. There's too much teaching. The reason that I left that event after 7 minutes is because I was like, I know this already. Most of the people in the room know this already. And if I didn't know it, I could find it on Google or Chat GPT like this. I don't need to give 25 minutes of my time to get this kind of information. So again, it's all about being the best speaker at the event. So I want you to take a moment now and just think about your goals. What are your speaking goals? Why are you here? And what do you aim to achieve in the future? Whether it's end of this week, next month, next year, how is public speaking going to do this for you? Scale. Scale your influence, scale your bottom line, scale your followers on LinkedIn, scale your opportunities, scale your salary. Something's going to move because you're public speaking. And it's not going to happen when you educate. It's going to happen when you do this. When you inspire. It's my top line theme. This is how I see it right now. I used to be way too much education. Now I want to get you the feeling I have before I public speak, that I'm about to amplify my ideas. So let's talk about inspiration for a moment. I want to introduce you to Dom Whiting. Has anyone heard of Dom Whiting? This is Dom. He's an incredibly trendy guy. He's so trendy, he's got a bum bag. Who remembers bum bags? Yeah, okay, good. Excellent. I used to think they were so cool when I was 11. Luckily, I only ever bought one. So bum bags, Dom's got a bum bag. This is Dom. And if we zoom out of this photograph, we can see Dom is in front of a massive crowd of people. There he is at the front. That little orange arrow is pointing to him. It's a beautiful sunset on the coast somewhere. This is what Dom has achieved. Dom has inspired all of these people to turn up because he does this. He's a DJ on a bike. During the pandemic, he was feeling the pressures like the rest of us. He wanted to do something. He's actually a car mechanic, so he knew how to rig up a bike with some turntables. And now he cycles around UK cities and European cities DJing. And he's like the Pied Piper. He's got this incredible audience of people who are inspired by him. And they get on their bikes and they join him. And he's achieving crowds like this. because he's got a bike and he's DJing. He's not actually a DJ. He's not trying to promote a record or anything like that. It's just something he likes to do, and he makes people feel like this. This is fun. This is exciting. I can have a part of this. This is something I can be involved with. And where one person feels like this, very soon a lot of people feel like that, because the inspiration is flowing. He's not trying to educate people. He's just saying, hey, let's get on our bikes. I'll play some music. We'll have some fun and we'll go for a cycle. It is incredibly simple. And simple means amplification. Let Google do the education. When you have an audience of people, when you've got FaceTime with people, let's amplify the feelings, the excitement, the potential. Now, I've watched Dom on the news, and under the surface, he talks about mental well-being. He talks about health. He talks about community. He talks about environment. But he doesn't talk about those things to get people on their bikes. To get people on their bikes, he just says, hey, let's go for a ride. I'll bring the tunes, you bring your mates, and off we go. So he keeps it simple. He inspires people. But once he's inspired them and he's got his followers, he can then talk about more complex topics. And this is what we want as speakers. We want to be able to amplify our ideas. We want people to be amazed and to be wowed because they're part of the moment we're creating. And that comes from inspiration. So it's all about, in my mind, the audience and the speaker goals perfectly aligning. Now, to do that, on my website are 20 discovery questions. If you grab your phones and scan this QR code, you can go straight there. You don't need a login. You don't need to give me your email. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want you to get these ideas. The 20 questions I use on all my discovery calls with clients to say, what are your goals as the speaker and who is your audience? So if you haven't got a phone handy, I'm going to put in the chat all of the links for today. So the top one is this. And then there's 3 more, which are the promo codes and the course overview and some samples for the course that I'm selling here today. The one that's going to help you inspire the audience that you see today. So how do we do this? How do we move forward? How do we build a bridge that you can reach the value that you're trying to create without spending tons of time building presentations? So like I said, I used to be in the advertising world. Didn't survive very long because I don't have that much emotional mental armor, but I did do about 4 years. And being the guy that was always there in the middle of the night, waiting for presentations to come in, waiting for slides to come in, I thought there has to be a better way. So I created the 8 steps to Showtime. And it's the roadmap and the playbook that I'm going to share with you today that I've turned into a course and that I use with all my clients. And what it does is it allows us to see the details and then pull out and see the big picture and bounce between these 2 states and create the presentation for the audience in front of us today. So we can avoid this. We can avoid the effort. We can avoid the determination. We can avoid the and falling into the mouth of the crocodile. So let me run through the 8 steps really quickly. I do have content about this on LinkedIn, so I will share it in the post-event follow-up. But the 8 steps are: number 1, brainstorm. Whiteboard, iPad, post-it notes, back of an envelope, go for a walk, talk to your phone, brainstorm like crazy, get your ideas out there. Step number 2, organize. Take that creative chaos into a system that you can spell check, archive, get approval, share with your colleagues, get approval from the senior members of the team. Then write a script. Write your ideas out, word process, handwritten, but a script. No slides, no visuals, no bullet points, no formatting, none of that stuff. Let's keep it really focused on the content. You can again send that script to the senior members of the team. Apple, I had a friend who worked at Apple in Beijing. He told me that at Apple, you cannot make a presentation until you can pitch somebody as text in an email. Because you can imagine at Apple, everyone's walking around trying to emulate Steve Jobs with an amazing keynote. People are like, we don't have time for this. If you can't sell me from an email, it's not good enough yet. Apparently, Jeff Bezos, one of the best things he did was ban presentations in meetings. He said, we have a silent memo reading time. Write it out, we'll all read it, and then we'll discuss. And Apple and Amazon are doing quite well. So scripting your ideas as text that can be spell checked in Grammarly and sent around the team is the next step, number 3. Once that's been approved, we move it into wireframes. All the slides, no design, does it flow, has it got rhythm, is there too much, is there too little? Let's test it like an app. Let's make a wireframe. We wouldn't make a full-blown design when we're prototyping our app. Same for a presentation. Then you design it. Design, as Neil will tell you, hello Neil, good to see you here. Design is easy when you know what you're trying to say. Design is slow when you're figuring out design and message at the same time. Once you got your design, you practice. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but it works. And we have Pitch Club where you can come and help. We'll come and help you improve, but practice. Once you're practicing, you can then refine it. You might decide that's not a great slide. Maybe I'll use that somewhere else. I'm going to reduce this down to be just what I need for the event so that when you go and present, you've got a big smile on your face, your content is super relevant for your audience, it's just what you need to inspire. And you might not even use slides. You might be at an investor meeting. You might be on a fireside chat. You might be introducing yourself on a podcast or at your weekly meeting, or in an elevator with the person that can change the direction of your business, or even at a conference, whether it's B2B, on the sales floor, or as a keynote speaker. These are all moments when you need to inspire, and they're all moments that you need to present. And the great thing about the 8 Steps to Showtime was because it was created in the advertising industry of Beijing, which is hard, you work as a team. This system and the way that I've created it with SOPs and checklists and all the material that you need, you can hand over to your colleagues. You can do the script. I'll do the slide design. We can come back and approve. We can work together so we're working smart and not hard. So if you want to check out a sample, here's the QR code. This is, I believe, link number 4 that I pasted in the chat. So please do take those links. And here you can watch 3 of the videos from the course that we created. So this is the program that I use in my consulting, but I've turned it into a course so that we can run it in parallel online. Now, in this, you get all the videos you need. You get all of the checklists, all of the resources, and there are regular updates. So it's an organic living course. It's all based on our online platform. Once you get access, you're in for life. You can watch it as many times as you want. And it's worked with all these people, big companies that I worked with in Beijing, whether it was the CEO of Cartier when they were going from the China to the global town hall meeting, or the CMO of Volkswagen when he was going from Beijing to Hong Kong to do a keynote speech as a marketing leader. It's also worked for the head of HR at Mercedes when she was talking to 2,000 people, and also recently with a founder here in the UK who we made a pitch deck. We followed this process. He was raising investment, but he didn't use the pitch. He wasn't allowed, or he wasn't given the opportunity to use the slides we created. Instead, he had a phone call, a 2-minute phone call with the person with the money. The founder was able to respond and say everything he needed to on the phone. The investor was like, good, I like it, I'm in, and he connected him with his team. Because it's about flexibility. Presenting is not about having a presentation you made a year ago and bringing it in and using it for every audience. It's about responding to the people who are giving you their attention so you can inspire them. As well as working with all these startup leaders and accelerators in both England, Europe, and China. So the course has 5 videos where we really dig into your themes and your reasons for presenting, because if those aren't clear, the rest of it's just noise. So we really dig into why are you presenting. We talk a lot more about ice cream. Then I break down each step by step, explaining how to do it with all the checklists, KPIs, everything you need, chapter notes. I recommend you watch this on 1.5 speed and then come back and watch it a couple of times. And then I break down case studies where it worked for Mercedes, a Chinese tech startup, and another pizza company that got acquired recently. So there's very tangible case studies of how the 8 Steps to Showtime works in different contexts, so you can see how it works for you. So the course is £249 for all that content, all the resources, for as much time as you want. But because you're here today, we have a 25% discount. This is the second link in the chat, but the discount expires tomorrow night at midnight UK time. So you have all this time to think about it, watch the samples, get an idea of if this is going to work for you. And a super reasonable investment is going to take your presentations to the next level. So let me dig in more and show you how one of the steps works. Oh, and this is what somebody said after their company went through this process. So their company is all about taking super technical startups in like cancer imaging, DNA profiling, getting these startups ready to go to European grant money boards to then get allocated big money to then be able to accelerate. And we went through the 8 Steps to Showtime with her team, and this is what she said. She said she'd only ever thought of presentations as a block, but the 8 steps became the blocks within the blocks. And she could see how this would really transform how her team works on presentations. Because whenever you're presenting and we're inspiring, we want this: our ideas to become other people's ideas. That is the point. Keeping ideas secret means they're never going to grow. Sharing ideas and inspiring people is where the value is. So they can walk away and go, yes, I have a slice of ownership in this idea. And again, it all comes down to inspiring, smiles, energy, enthusiasm. Because this moment is incredibly powerful. Now, from 1 second, let's think that it isn't a presentation, and it's not a pitch, and it's not public speaking. It's actually this. Neurons firing, excitement growing, hair tingling, eyes widening. This is what we're trying to achieve. That is when we know that we're going to be the best speaker at the event. Because we've motivated people to go to the event organizer and say, she was amazing. I've connected with her on LinkedIn. We've got a meeting scheduled. I'm so glad you booked her for the stage because, wow. That's what we're really, really aiming for. Now, for all of this to work, you have to believe in the next sentence. You have to believe that today's audience is not tomorrow's audience or yesterday's audience. That the people here today, and I am lucky enough to have 26 of you here today, are not the 26 or 18 people that came last month. And when we believe this, we start to think of our presentation as a living thing that has to be manicured and presented for the people in front of you today. And here's another example. I was working in an agency in Beijing. We wanted to build a website. I asked my web designer friends to send me a proposal. My job as the creative director was to sort of gather the proposals, put them in front of the decision makers and make a decision. We did that on the day, got the presentations. I had the two the chairmen of the company. They sat down, they said, right, let's have a look at this. And so my job was to start the presentation, start showing them. And within 2 slides of the first presentation, the 2 decision makers looked at each other and said, why are we looking at templates? Why am I looking at the same stuff that everybody else sees? Why am I not seeing my problems being solved? And they just carried on talking. And I was sat there pressing spacebar going, Well, nobody's paying any attention because they had to see themselves in the solution. That's what presentation is all about. So how do we do that at step 3? So step 3 is our script writing process. We've done the whiteboarding, we've done our organization, now we are scripting. And a client I'm working with at the moment, they are a SaaS platform, a last mile delivery software. So it's all about how is the package delivered to the customer. And we're working on their sales pitch, and they're going to events in the States and here in Europe, and they're working the floor, and their whole goal is to turn conversations into demos with the right people, demos into clients. And so some of those conversations, they have a focus on the driver benefits. Some of those conversations, it's all about the receiver of the package, the person waiting at home. Some of those conversations are about the logistics, who's managing the warehouse, the driver distribution, the rotations, all those sorts of things. So they have multiple stakeholders. And we're developing a script of a series of pitches, conversations. Some of them are focused on the drivers. Some of them are focused on the receivers. Some of them are focused on the logistics. Now, if we take away those people, we essentially have building blocks of consistent content that isn't always in the same order because each audience is different. And that's what we want to really focus on when we've got flexible presentations. So whether you're building an app, or whether you're involved in big industry, or whether you're in fast consumable goods, or whether you're a coach, you're going to have different audiences as you present, whether it's on a stage at an event as a guest speaker or at a networking event. These are all pitching moments. And what we want is this. And that comes from this, being flexible. Not sticking to the script regardless and trying to get to the end, but reading the room, changing the pitch and the presentation the night before or even on the fly. And you're going to be going, maybe you're going, I don't have time for this. What is he talking about? I can't recreate my presentation every single time. I'm busy. I got loads of stuff to do. And I was there. And it's not about reinventing the wheel every time, because that would be crazy. But it's about 80-20. The 80-20 principle. Just finished listening to the audiobooks. Absolutely wonderful. We want to have 20% that we change and 80% that's evergreen. Which means we've got 20% where we educate and 80% where we inspire. But it doesn't look like a salad dressing that hasn't been shaken with the oil on the top and the vinegar on the bottom. It looks like this. We sprinkle it. And again, following a process gives us the flexibility to adapt from our recipe to give exactly the right salad dressing for our audience. So if we go back to our script, we write a script. I write a lot of scripts, whether it's in Evernote, whether it's on notes in my phone, whether it's in Pages or Google Docs or Word or whatever it might be. I write a script, get the ideas out of my head. Write it. This is what one normally looks like for about a 15-minute presentation. So we've got about 7.5 pages there, generously spaced, half a sentence, a few bullet points, the opening lines, the closing lines, the call to actions, the segues. I write this script. It's an incredibly important part of the process, but it's step 3 of 8. So it's not even halfway through. Now, what I've learned the hard way is time wasted polishing your script is literally time wasted. You're not a butler polishing the silverware. Don't overdo it, because you don't want to memorize a script. When somebody's memorizing a script, they're not actually connecting with their audience. They're too busy trying to remember paragraph 2 before paragraph 3, and they're looking up and they're talking in a really flat way and there's zero emotion. What we want to do is turn that script into a series of index cards, if you like, of the keywords that unlocks the stories that you know already. And this gives you the confidence to let it go. Let the script go. Like a balloon. My kids had a balloon a couple of years ago, one of those helium balloons. One of them, she let go of it and she watched it disappear. That's exactly what we do with the script. Let it go. It has served its purpose of getting our ideas out of our head. Because you know the stories already. You were there. You saw it, you lived it, you felt it. You can tell that story without the script. Just because it's a presentation doesn't mean we have to recite it word for word. But if we don't make the script, we'll be all over the map. So it's an incredibly important part of the process to keep us flexible. So that was step 3. I'm not going to go through all 8. You've got the samples in the links. I think it's number 4 in the link. I will put it in the chat again. So go and check out the videos. All of the content, absolutely fantastic. And this is what Dan said. Dan brought me in to come and review his presentation. He was presenting, him and his co-founder, lockdown had finished. They just rebranded their company. They were introducing themselves to their community, new brand, new vision. They wanted to do a little bit of education. They said, can you come in and have a look at our presentation? Problem was, I could only come in the night before. So I was looking at everything where we had no time to change anything. So I was trying to do everything at step 7. And we tried to do as much as we could. And unfortunately for Dan's team, his creative director, his account manager, and his sales director, half of their work went in the bin. Because I came, snip, 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 and I cut half of it out. 2 weeks worth of work. If that was me, that has been me, that is demoralizing. Because I'm like, what am I working for if it's all going to go in the bin? This process says, let's not do that because we're following this playbook. And when we follow this playbook, we can be like Dom. We can inspire hundreds, thousands of people to join us, get on their bikes, not be confused with what it's all about, but just have that inspirational feeling. So we're pretty much over, guys. I want to keep this nice and short so you can either get back on with your day or we can hang around for some Q&A. But this course is available with a massive discount. The links are in the chat. And it's all about creating value, retaining value, because when you do that, you start sharing ice cream. So that my ice cream becomes your ice cream and you start telling other people about my ice cream, and it's networking and we're creating value and we're all reaching our goals. So guys, thank you so much for your attention today.